3.45 miles long. Some notable sections. Really, it's that bottom right corner of the track known as the boot. Sometimes it's chopped off for different kinds of racing. You can see that little lateral line that goes through the middle of it. But we are running with the boot. The 11 corners, if you do a little bit of counting, a little bit of math, you'll realize that doesn't look like 11. That looks like, 13 to 15 corners. Well, the bus stop, which is oftentimes considered a 4-corner section in a majority of racing series, is actually not even considered a corner here on Watkins Glen. That bus stop right there, known as right at the end of the back straight you can see on the track map. Fun little fact right there about Watkins Glen. Let's take a look at our standings here as we're going into round 3. After 2 races, we've got Mark Vickers sitting at the very top of the standings. Now, obviously, we want to take a look and keep watching on Mark Vickers and Hunter Hughes fighting it out all race long. A little bit of an update farther down the road. It's Eric Richardson who's sitting in 6th. He's actually not going to be here tonight. Unfortunately, he's out in Indianapolis watching the IndyCar race, which is pretty sweet. So 3rd place right now sitting Ian Miller, 4th Colton Gardner, 5th just a hair behind is Justin Nieves, 6th that's the guy that we were talking about, Eric Richardson, 7th Mr. Brian McKinney, 8th DJ Fluck, 9th Tyler Vickery, and 10th Andrew Hewitt, unfortunately down at the bottom of the timetables. We are still in the thick of qualifying right now, but as we get ready to go racing in just a few minutes, let's take a look at our calendar. Like I mentioned, we are on round 3. We got, after tonight, 5 more to go. Next week, going to another iconic track, my 2nd favorite racetrack in the world, ironically enough. It's Laguna Seca. What a fun race track that is. And this weekend, actually, if you are a sports car racing fan, you'll see some real sports cars racing there, ironically enough, as that is the place where IMSA is going this weekend. Fun little fact. Now, obviously, before we get into this, we need to say a big thank you and give some love to our friends over at House of Hockey. On this episode of House of Hockey, Breezy and Ray are discussing the current 2nd round standings of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. If the Toronto Maple Leafs lose this round, does their first round win mean nothing? If the New Jersey Devils lose this round, do they leave on a high note? Hear why the ladies think that the Dallas Stars versus the Florida Panthers will be in the Stanley Cup final. The New York Rangers fire their head coach, Jared Gallant, and it's unclear if he's really to blame for the team's first round exit. This new episode airs at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, being Thursday, on Stadium Scene TV, so definitely take a look out for that. Now, as we're here in the thick of qualifying, just the very end, about 20 seconds left. We got Hunter Hughes sitting on pole right now, provisionally, about 3/10 ahead of Ian Miller, 3rd to Mark Vickers. Brian, Tyler, and DJ all unable to set a valid lap, which is actually quite surprising, to be honest with you. Brian, Tyler especially, not able to set a valid lap is quite surprising to me. It looks like he's running a BMW. We're going to be looking at a car strategy. It's definitely something that I will be studying. I know this track to be especially favored to the Mercedes. It seems to be the track that seems to be the car that really likes this track. I think a lot of why it likes it is how heavy that front end is, which allows you to go through some of these corners, especially notably turn 7, I want to say, quite easily. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these drivers handle this track. Now, one corner that I want you guys to look out for, if you look at that bottom right corner in that track map, we notice turn 9, it's that decreasing radius uphill left-hander. Turn 9, I guarantee you, is going to be the most difficult place for these drivers to negotiate. As qualifying is now finishing, and we do have Hunter Hughes sitting on pole, Ian Miller in 2nd, Mark Vickers in 3rd, Brian McKinney in 4th, Tyler Vickery in 5th, and DJ Flick will round at the back. Yeah, turn 9 is going to be something especially difficult for these drivers, I guarantee you. It's a moment on the track where, as you're going up this hill, you have a blind entry into the corner, and it has a decreasing radius, but you want to get on the power early.
Technical difficulties tonight.
As you're getting on the power, though.
If I am blinking or whatever on the track, let me know. I'll get out of the way.
One of our drivers being very kind and giving us a pre-race warning about some technical difficulties. As I was talking about turn 9, as you're getting on the gas, which it looks like we actually have a driver there right now.
Internet issues?
Tyler Vickery just went around it.
I don't know, man. It's just super choppy. Like, I'll be going through, like, the chicane, and all of a sudden it, like, glitches out, and I
can't mute tonight, unfortunately. But yeah, so Tyler Vickery, as he was going around that corner, he wasn't quite able to show us, but the thing is, when you hit the gas, you're like just going over a hill, just going a little bit over a crest. So
think my
kind of messes
PC
you up.
just
Tyler
needs to-
Vickery,
Matt.
unable to set a valid lap. Still, I am so surprised. Still sits in 5th. Wow. So Tyler Vickery will have a qualifying that he will want to forget about as Hunter Hughes leads us going into this race with a 146.150. Ian Miller, 0.3 off the pace from that, sits at 146.488. And Mark Vickers, a 1.5 off the pole position lap, sits at a 147.745. Now, I will say Hunter Hughes' lap at a 146.1 is pretty darn solid. So I expect to see some pretty good lapping from him. Now, obviously, he's been doing a good job this season so far. Really been doing a great job. But obviously, this season is still so young, so anything can come. Him and Mark Vickers obviously are consistently battling it out. So it's weird to see Mark Vickers almost 2 seconds off the pace from Hunter Hughes. But again, the race has not yet started. It's only qualifying. And the race will be starting in just a minute or two. So before we get into this race, I want to say take a look out for some deep battles. Like I said, into turn 9 is where we might have some self-inflicted pain. But passing zones, we're looking right into the bus stop as a very good passing zone, along with coming out of turn 11 into turn 1 down that final straight. That's a very good passing zone. And if you get a good enough exit down the bottom right corner of your screen, you will see turn number 7, the bottom of the boot. That's the toe section of the boot. Coming out of that uphill right-hander, which that is, an uphill right-hand hairpin.
Wasn't setting these up as short for
that
his lap.
is
everybody okay
where
with that?
you might be able to get an overtake as well.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
So it looks like we're about to go racing, everybody. We got the pace car
I
on
figure
the
instead
track.
of driving 2.5 minutes
We
around
got
the
all
track,
drivers
just get this thing
lined up.
going.
We got tires squealing. We got everybody going to get to the warm-up phase of their tire life, and they only have a couple corners, just 3 corners, to warm these tires up, get these boots hot and running. Let's take a look at our friend who's sitting on pole position right now, Mr. Hunter Hughes in the blue Porsche, followed up by Ian Miller in that red Mercedes, the Vodafone. The pace car will dive in very quickly right here as soon as it makes its way around the corner. We are about to have green flag racing. Everybody get on the edge of your seats. It's almost time for the start of tonight's race for Wednesday Night Dash. We are going in to round 3 here at Watkins Glen. For the Watkins Glen Sprint, we are off and racing, and that is an amazing launch from Hunter Hughes. Mark Vickers also catching a really good snap off Ian Miller a little bit, but Ian Miller dives it so deep on the brakes. Did he miss the braking zone? No, he hit it perfect. Wow, what a send from the Mercedes, and Ian Miller immediately leading the race. And a side-by-side action from Mark Vickers and Hunter Hughes. Hunter Hughes just edging out Mark Vickers going in to turn 2 and turn 3. Now they're at turn 4, that little kink in the road on their way into the bus stop. Wow, what a launch from Ian Miller. Holy smokes. He handles the bus stop phenomenally. Like I did mention, I said the Mercedes happens to be, in my opinion, the best car for this track. And Ian Miller is trying to prove me right. I think he may have heard me on the broadcast, and he said, you know what? That guy, Eli, he's actually pretty smart. Let's go ahead and prove him right with this one. And give him a good show. Amazing start so far from him. But Hunter Hughes says, no, you're not going to get away that fast, my friend. I'm going to stay right behind you. He's less than a couple tenths away. Just about 0.3 of a second out from the leader. There he goes, flying up the ridge, going into the back straight. After turn 7, like I mentioned, that's one of the overtaking zones quite potentially. It looks like the guy in 4th quite possibly is Tyler Vickery. It is Tyler Vickery. Look at him. He gets a really nice exit. Goes properly wide out of 8. That's the trick right there, which a lot of drivers are going to find out. You do not get an off track for going that far wide on the exit, so he did a good job there. Now some grass clipping right there from the Porsche out of the front. You got to be careful touching the grass out there on the exit turn 9. It is extra slippery, extra slippery. May as well be pure ice. Tyler Vickery says, nah, I can go wide even more. That was not the spot to do it. Whoopsies. But he's back up into race pace. Just slightly behind the leaders. He is Hunter Hughes. Still sits in 2nd. Ian Miller sitting in the lead. Mark Vickers in 3rd. Tyler Vickery in 4th. Brian McKinney in 5th. DJ Flick, unfortunately, running out the back right now. So we got a little tasty battle between Mark Vickers and Hunter Hughes. It's tight between these two drivers. Just about a half a second separates the two of them. And the sound of those engines flying by here, as always, it's just something wonderful. They dive into the bus stop. Look at how hard that Ferrari attacks the bus stop. That is absolutely the way you need to do it. Fully on the limit. You need to totally send it into the first part of the bus stop so you can then carry a lot of speed through the second half of it. The hard part is if you oversend it, though, you get a little bit unstable, which you saw a little bit of Mark Vicker's car. Get a little bit wobbly, but he caught it back and he was fine. Now Mark Vicker's still sitting in second. Or sorry, still sitting in third. Hunter Hughes sitting in second. He's catching up to Ian Miller just a little bit. And so what I'm noticing already very quickly is that some sections of this track, you can tell Hunter Hughes has a massive advantage over Ian Miller. And then there are other sections, especially the straightaway sections, where Ian Miller just flies away. A corner like this is definitely going to be conducive to that Porsche. It gets a lot of downforce for those middle speed corners. This corner right here, it gets slow. You know, the Porsche is also going to be pretty calm, cool, and collected. And that's a wide move right there from the Mercedes. He taps the wall a little bit, getting a little bit pressured. And that might be a side-by-side moment. Nope, they're not going to go for it quite yet. Hunter Hughes stays back just a little bit longer. But Mark Vickers is seeing the action ahead of him. He smells blood in the water. He knows they're fighting it already early on. We're only on lap 2 of 26 tonight. And they're already kind of getting a little bit aggressive. Them mostly being the Porsche, but I like that aggressive driving. You kind of have to attack this track as aggressively as possible. Let's go ahead and take a look at this from the point of view of Hunter Hughes as we're going to be going into the bus stop. If you look at this cockpit cam, like I mentioned to you guys how hard you're going to have to commit for the bus stop. Watch how hard he jumps over this first right-hand curb. He's going to have to fly for it. Brakes about as late as possible. Brakes at that white line. Jumps all the way over it. Really over on that left curb. You need to get a good exit there, and it's perfectly executed right there from Hunter Hughes. He knew exactly how to hit that bus stop and get the most out of it. He gets an amazing exit coming out of turn 5, and it's going to be side-by-side into the downhill corner of 6. It's going to favor the Mercedes almost certainly, who has the inside line. And so far, it looks like the Mercedes will be able to hold it, but only just. It's going to be a switchback now. And that's Hunter Hughes trying to take now the outside line. Going to break later than Ian Miller. Ian Miller stuck on the inside is what it's looking like. But Hunter Hughes not able to make something happen out of it. It was almost a moment for him to make a move, but unfortunately, the gap just never fully became a reality. It was always a bit of a figment of one's imagination. There was a hope for it for sure, but did not quite happen. So far, the top 4 already all keeping very tight. The top 4 being Ian Miller, Hunter Hughes, Mark Vickers, and Tyler Vickery in that order. Tyler Vickery obviously has had a pretty tough start to this season. He's really looking to come back and do a lot better. I think this car choice, putting himself in the BMW, was a great move. It's a very stable car, very easy to control, very easy to drive on the limit. So Tyler Vickery probably a lot less prone to a self-inflicted error tonight, which I'm sure is a lot of what he's looking for. Back up to the front, Vodafone. Nowhere near as good of an exit on turn 1. He's going to block. Oh, good defending from the Mercedes. Forces the Porsche to take the long way around. The Porsche is going to have the draft, and this is a moment where the draft makes a big difference. This straightaway right here, going into the bus stop, is going to be huge. The Porsche ducks out to the outside. The Mercedes just have enough straight line speed, but he's going to have a compromised line going into the bus stop. I do not expect as good of an exit out of the bus stop. And I was right. The Porsche right up on his tails again. The heels of that Mercedes are getting stomped on. Ooh, I want to see Hunter Hughes make a big send. You can see that there, like I mentioned early on in lap 2 already, I could see that there were certain corners that really favored the Porsche, certain corners that really favored the Mercedes. And this midsection right here around the boot, all of the boot itself minus this straightaway they're about to get on, and turn 5 as well, all really favor that Porsche. The Mercedes is, like I said, especially good in the straightaways and those fast corners. The bus stop seems to do well for the Mercedes as well, which I'm not too surprised about. So we'll see if Hunter Hughes can make something out of this struggle that the Ferrari in front of him is having. Now, the top 4 all separated by just under a second still. So far, no change in order of those top 4. It's looking like a nice little multicolored snake. If you look at it. From Ian Miller down to Hunter Hughes, down to Mark Vickers, down to Tyler Vickery. And it's the Mercedes going defensive once again into turn 1. The Porsche going to get a really good run into that one. Hold on a second. The Porsche going to go really wide there. Almost maybe catches a slowdown. Going so wide. You got to be careful going too wide there out of turn 1. You will get a slowdown. The game does like to dish him out. So it's got to be something he's got to be careful with. Now, a little bit behind it, though. I don't expect to see a pass here going into the bus stop. If we look at this from the cockpit camera of Mark Vickers, you can see there's no danger for the 2 cars in front of him. Look at the way Mark Vickers takes that corner a lot more cautiously than the front 2. You can see it's quite different. And Tyler Vickery is just staying behind. He's not trying to make moves quite yet. Almost actually rear-ends the heck out of him. But Tyler Vickery maybe going to make a move down into this corner. Not quite available for him. Turn 6 was not quite on yet for him. The Porsche and the Mercedes still fighting. The BMW and the Ferrari now fighting. It's a 4-manufacturer, 4-driver battle. All for the top 4. A whole lot of 4s going on right now. Again, the Porsche and Mercedes stay in even order. And again, the BMW and Ferrari stay in even order coming out of turn 7. Let's go back into that Porsche camera. Going up to this is that uphill turn 9 that I mentioned to you guys. Really difficult on the brakes. Has to be careful when he gets in the throttle. He does well. Gets as wide as you possibly can. Let's see exactly how he handles this. As a light lift, which I think you might be able to get away with not doing sometimes, but only sometimes. It depends on your entry line into it. You got Hunter Hughes having a really good exit out of the final corner. Turn 11 seems to be pretty fair to him, but it's not fair enough. Won't be able to get the move done quite yet. Has to stay behind. Tyler Vickery making a bit of a mistake. He's far back now, about 2 seconds off the pace of the leader. Far away. Oh, that's the Porsche alongside going into the first couple S's. And he's going to have the good line, in my opinion. But the Ferrari has the straight line speed of the Porsche. So be wary of that Ferrari catching a little bit more draft and maybe making a move. Mark Vickers. That's him. We can see this from this angle. Mark Vickers. Oops, sorry. Mark Vickers not quite able to find his way through. But he did have a really good exit on turn 1. So he's staying very, very relevant in this race. 10 minutes down so far. 35 minutes left to go. Tyler Vickery, you can see in the very back of that camera, falling a little bit off the pace. Still stuck back. Now, the beautiful thing for Tyler Vickery is that the more these top 2 fight, the closer he gets. And now it's becoming a top 3 fight. Look at that Ferrari trying to find a way through. Doesn't exist yet still. But he's looking for it. He's fishing. If that Porsche hadn't gotten his way right there, that would have been a pass, I guarantee you. Porsche just taking up a little bit too much real estate. And still taking up all that real estate. Not able, or not letting that Ferrari go through. Ferrari takes the wider line. I like that for the Ferrari. It's where you get the most speed coming out of turn 8 right there. Into that uphill section to turn 9. Nobody has yet to really do it, but that's the Porsche getting a little bit squirrely. Ferrari says, hello, I saw you. Goes on the inside, thought about it for a second, had to back out. Oh, that could have been nasty. That could have been disastrous or delightful. But so far, it is neither of the two. It is just a normal corner. Again, the Ferrari just stuck behind this Porsche. Really wide move from the Ferrari, making a bit of a mistake on entry into turn 1. More so probably on exit. But I think he entered a little bit too hot, which is going to lose him about 7/10 of a second. So now he is down 7/10 from second place and 1.3 seconds from the leader. Tyler Vickery down a full 2 seconds. Okay, look at the Miller camera. I think he had a bit of an awkward entry into that bus stop right there, so it allowed the Porsche to get up closer. But it's such tight margins between these top 2 guys, Ian Miller and Hunter Hughes, that one little mistake isn't enough to let that Porsche just get right up in there. Oh, almost goes into it. Oh, it's a spin right there for the Porsche. Oh, no, Hunter Hughes has spun it coming down turn 6. It's a difficult spot. You lose a lot of downforce on those rears. And he just absolutely spun it. He looks like he recovered it decently well. I do not believe he has any damage. But he's now down into 4th. Yeah, and Tyler Vickery got the best of everything out of that one. He found a way to get through too. So let's take a look at this from Tyler Vickery's point of view. See exactly what happened. Tyler Vickery comes around the corner. Oh my gosh. From From Tyler Vickery's point of view, he comes with the corner. He sees them slightly tap. He says, all right, I'm through. That's great for me. And then from the point of view of Mark Vickers, there's nothing he could do right here. You can see the Porsche gets wild right there. Oh, yeah, it was totally cut across the track. Very slow. And it's going to be a hit. A quick hit right there. However, it does rewrite that Porsche back out. Hunter Hughes back and good, but it looks like he went and had to go into the pits. Probably having to serve a fast repair, unfortunately. Hunter Hughes does go into the pits. So the top three right now sits Ian Miller to Tyler Vickery to Mark Vickers. Wow. With Hunter Hughes having such a dominant early bit of this race, that is really going to hurt. He's having to serve a fast repair already. He's not going to be happy about that, I guarantee you. Now, what I wonder is, now that Hunter Hughes has been eliminated from the situation, will Tyler Vickery be able to find a way to catch up to that first place driver? Or will he be kind of stuck behind for a while, in which case he won't be able to really make much of an impact? I'm not sure. We shall see. It looks like he definitely does have the pace for it. I think he might be catching up. Ever slowly. He's catching up a couple tenths here, a couple tenths there. Does have the draft now. About 2 tenths separates the top two drivers. Hold on a second. What an exit for Tyler Vickery. Is he going to make a move into turn 9? I said this is a dangerous corner. He's going to have the outside line now. I think it's a little bit more sketchy on that outside line, but he handles it well. He's back in the power, and he's right up on the tail of that Mercedes. Ooh, Ian Miller's going to be driving in his mirrors big time right now. He knows that he's got an aggressive, tenacious driver in Tyler Vickery chasing him down. He's got to be a little bit scared, I'm sure. If I was Tyler Vickery, I would be frightened right now. Or sorry, if I was Ian Miller, excuse me, I would be frightened right now. Tyler Vickery is a scary driver. He's quick. He's very quick. Especially on his day, he starts really banging them in. And speaking of which, look at what he's got right now. He's got a really good run going into this corner. He's going to be right up on the tail of the Mercedes. Is he looking for that outside line into the bus stop? That's a brave move. He needs to get a little bit more draft. I think he might have had enough. But it's going to be a moment where one of the two is going to have to back out. It's going to be the BMW backs out just a little bit. Which I think was smart, because now he'll have an opportunity for a better run going into the big bend, turn number 5. On his way down into the boot, but does not quite work out for him. Now, this is the corner that Tyler Vickery got 2 positions off of for free. We see the Mercedes taking a much deeper inside line on entry. Not the optimal way to take that corner. Tyler Vickery takes the outside move again. Looking for that optimal line as the Mercedes is stuck, hardcore defending. It's going to be a really good exit for Tyler Vickery. He knows he's got the exit speed on him. And it's nose to tail. That's gearbox to tailbox. It is close. And it's going to be the BMW. Looking for an inside dive now. Look at that switchback on him. He absolutely baited the Mercedes into defending the wrong line. And Tyler Vickery makes a very clean pass. Great move from the BMW driver. He's up in it first. Ian Miller in second now. Mark Vickers still holding it down in third. Looking for good points right here. But wow, that was absolutely tasty from Tyler Vickery. About as good as it could get. Now, unfortunately, it looks like Hunter Hughes still in the pits. I don't know if he's decided to retire or what, but he is still in there. That's unfortunate. We're on this little three-way battle. The Ferrari of Mark Vickers. Looks like he got a pretty solid exit out of turn 1. Hold on a second. It's a little bit far to make a move going into bus stop, but it might happen, depending on how good the draft is. It's not quite good enough, I don't think. Yep. The Mercedes, unable to stick it. Gets that really deep inside line right there. It's going to compromise him on exit. I'm noticing one thing. So, one thing that you guys can take away from this, a little bit of driver analysis and what goes on in the mind of a driver and how you can see it in their behavior. You can see that Ian Miller, now that he's following, he's actually turning in about 20 meters earlier than usual. He's taking a much tighter turn-in line. and is compromising him like crazy. Look at how Mark Vickers is able to catch up to him. The reason why he's turning in so quickly, it's a mix of a little bit of defense from behind him, but it's primarily because when you are, a lot of drivers, when they are on the attack mode, when they are trying to gain time, they start making their moves a little bit earlier. It's a very common telltale sign that somebody's trying to attack. And those moves can even happen on empty track. And so right now, obviously, you see Ian Miller. He doesn't necessarily have a competitor directly in front of him. He does have one directly behind him, or directly alongside him, actually. Not directly in front of him. Ian Miller actually going to go side by side, going through turn 10. That's a brave spot. Ian Miller still side by side with Mark Vickers through turn 11. They're going to go super slow, going to allow Tyler Vickers to just run away with this one. And it's a side-by-side battle from the Ferrari and the Mercedes. But as I was saying, you can see right here, watch an early turn in right here. He's positioned middle of the track, turns in really early right there. The reason why is because his brain, and every driver's brain, is thinking, how do I gain time? Let me think about the next move. What's ahead of me? It's very common. It's very, very, very common. And it makes drivers subconsciously turn in a little bit early. Compromise their line actually makes them go a little bit slower. What you see Mark Vickers doing is he sees that that's a problem. And he says, all right, let me just drive my normal line. Let you play defensive and try to fight, you know, for attack. And I'll drive a normal line. I'll end up making some more speed. And it looks like it's working out for him pretty well. He's still keeping up right up on the touch of Ian Miller. So that's a fun little piece of driver psychology analysis. Which I personally love. And again, look at that inside. Very early turn in for the Mercedes. The Ferrari going so wide using all the track. But he's going to maybe have the inside send. He wants the inside send. The Ferrari unable to quite stick it. The Mercedes really good on the brakes. Go just wide enough to hold on.
Good shit, Miller.
Yeah, it's a good compliment right there. Mark Vickers. He's feeling frustrated but also impressed that Ian Miller has been able to hold him off for this long. I think he's been holding him off for like 7 laps straight, or about 4 laps straight, effectively. It feels like it's been a long time. We're actually almost at the halfway point right now. And it's still all these two battling it out on track. Oh, wow. Look at the exit speed of that Ferrari. It might be it right there. Oh, Mark Vickers thought about it right there. He thought about the inside line. Ian Miller covered it off again. Such hardcore defending for the Mercedes. But he's going to have a bad line once again, and it's going to be a really nice move down the inside of the Ferrari. He saw the hardcore defense from that Mercedes, and it was eventually going to break. That dam could only hold back that charging, prancing horse for so long. And now he's up into second, but hold on a second. The Mercedes, with its brutally powerful engine, might make a send down into the bus stop. It looks like he will. He's going to go so hard through it, and he sticks it perfectly. The Mercedes back up into the front of these two. He sits now in second. Once again, Mark Vickers back into third after getting that position for the first time this whole race, only to have it taken away just 2 corners later. Now it's an outside move for that Ferrari. The Mercedes, how much will he use that track on the exit? Not much. The Ferrari had that real estate occupied, and he won't be able to make a move now going into 7. Ooh, this is heating up for sure. These two drivers must be having the time of their life fighting it so hard with each other. It's great fun to see when, you know, you got 2 drivers that are giving each other just the right amount of room and fighting it so hard. We love watching this. Now, obviously, you know who else loves watching this? It's Tyler Vickery, because this little battle between the two of them has allowed Tyler Vickery to move up 4 seconds. He's 4 seconds in the lead. 4.5 seconds, almost 5 seconds in the lead. So he loves this right now. Absolutely loves this. Ferrari not quite getting the exit there out of the final corner this time around. Let's get back dug into it. Mark Vickers. You know, he's got to start getting pretty creative pretty soon. It looks like he hasn't really been able to find a way to really break through this barrier that is this
Staying to the
Mercedes.
Staying to the right.
Looks like they're catching up to DJ Flick. DJ Flick has already been lapped by Tyler Vickery. DJ Flick lets the two battling buddies pass him by. You can see that gap right there. That green BMW right there that just passed the bottom is Tyler Vickery. And now it's Ian Miller and Mark Vickers once again side by side. The Ferrari now getting the outside line. Will have the advantage. Ferrari tries to just stay back and just says, nah, not yet. Not yet. Eventually, I'll get my moment, but just not yet. He's playing very patiently today. We are definitely in that halfway mark right now. The end of this lap will likely be the official mark of the halfway point. And it's still first place sitting right now for Tyler Vickery, sitting in the lead. Ian Miller sitting in second. Mark Vickers sitting in third. DJ Flick sitting in fourth. Ryan McKinney sitting in fifth. And Hunter Hughes, with that big crash, still stuck in the pits. Decides not to race anymore, I think. The Mercedes is going to dive into the pits early. Take that halfway mark pit stop. He says, all right, that's good enough for me. And so now it's some clear air for Mark Vickers. What can Mark Vickers do with that clear air? That's my question. Let's take a look at Ian Miller's pit stop. Let's see how he handles this. Is he going to get boots and fuel, or just boots, or just fuel? I don't think he needs to get the tires. A 45-minute race really shouldn't destroy a set of tires for you. So you should just put on some fuel and that's it. But it looks like he's changing those tires. So a longer pit stop than is necessary right here. Ian Miller opting for fresh tires, fresh grip, hoping that that might be his winning condition. In my opinion, I think he would have been better off not getting those fresh tires because, yes, you'll have a little bit more grip for the last, last half of the race. But think about it this way. Not only are you getting fresh tires, so your tires are going to be a lot, you had to use a lot more time in the pit stop, but also your tires are going to be a lot colder now coming out of the pits versus somebody who decides not to pit for tires. So that's something that might bite him in the butt right here as they charge down through lap 14. Back onto Tyler camera, sitting in the lead, having a great day of it. The race started out a little bit tough for him. His qualifying was definitely not something to write home about, but his race pace has been nothing short of exceptional. He's doing a great job holding it down here up at the front. Got a little bit of lucky with those two cars of Ian Miller and Mark Vickers having a little bit of a tap. Ian Miller and Hunter Hughes having a little bit of a tap. But other than that, it's been all skill. Now Mark Vickers and Tyler Vickery both going to the pits and see what Tyler does for that tires that I mentioned. Again, I really don't think these drivers need to be taking tires. I think they're maybe using 20% max of their tires so far. So let's see exactly what he does right here. The car does not lift. Mark Vickers, what about him? He has a fast repair he needs to do. For sure. Fast repair completed. Yep. Car doesn't lift as well, so they're going to have a pretty good advantage. And that's Tyler Vickery out of the pits. Getting a little bit of burnout. Hold on a second, everybody. Here comes Ian Miller. He's charging down the end of the pit lane. It's going to be very tight on the exit. But I think the 48 car will have had it bested. Mark Vickers stays ahead. Yep. Sorry, I mixed up 84 and 48. My dyslexia just really got the best of me right there. And the 84 car did have it bested. He stayed ahead of the 48. The 48 being Mr. Ian Miller. So great pit stop moves from both Tyler Vickery and Mark Vickers. I think a bit of a pit stop blunder from the Mercedes here of Ian Miller. Let's take a look at these lap times, though. Right now, Ian Miller does not have the fast lap of the race. The fastest lap of the race right now is a 46.861 by Tyler Lugo Vickery. And Ian Miller, best he's been able to do so far is a 47.377. Let's see if he can improve here on these fresh boots and fresh fuel. If it's going to make a difference, he's hoping that that difference is made right now. Otherwise, he's entirely out of this race. There's no way he can get anywhere higher than third, which, to be fair, third place finish, not too bad, but I know he wants more. Tyler Vickery camera. Still leading the race. Uses all the track that he could right there in the exit of turn 10. Tight line out of turn 11. Taking it very easy right now. I don't blame him. I've been taking it pretty easy right now too. No need to be setting down, you know, super bangers. Puts down a 2-minute 16 that last lap right there, which was his pit exit lap, to be fair. 2 seconds slower than Mark Vickers, so Mark Vickers did catch up 2 seconds on that last lap. But keep in mind, Mark Vickers also had that huge battle he had to fight off with Ian Miller, so that lost him so much time. Mark Vickers fighting off Ian Miller and Hunter Hughes for so long. Lost him so much time. Hunter Hughes back out there. Sits in 6th, 7 laps down. Really, really rough result for him so far. He's nowhere near going to get back into this race right now, but he's just driving to live, driving to have some fun. So it's good practice, don't get me wrong, so I'm glad that he got back out onto track. You can go ahead and take a look back at Tyler Vickery. Coming around turn 7 right here. 2nd place, sitting at Mark Vickers. 3rd place, sitting with the 48 car, Mr. Ian Miller. 4th place, though. And I'm very proud to say this right now. 4th place sitting to DJ Fluck. Nice job. You've been running a good race. Brian McKinney sits in 5th, and Hunter Hughes sits in the back. Now with DJ scoring pretty solid points so far today. Whoa, look at that exit line right there from Tyler Vickery. He's putting the pressure on, actually. Pretty surprised. Looks like he might have found a groove right now. With DJ Fluck scoring some pretty considerable points at the end of the night tonight, assuming he finishes exactly where he is right now. I wonder how much that's going to shake up that championship standings. You know, it pays. It shows that it pays to just show up and get the race done and just finish. You know, no incidents. It makes a huge difference just to get to the finish line. We're out after it. Tyler Vickery still sits in 2nd. He's coming up on a lap car. Looks like he's coming up on Brian McKinney. Brian McKinney lets him through, no problem.
Thank you, Brian.
Tyler Vickery still stuck into the lead so comfortably. 5.5, basically 6 seconds worth of pace, or worth of space on Mark Vickers right now. But I will say, Mark Vickers is lapping about a 1/2 second a lap faster every lap than is Tyler Vickery. So I don't know, man. I mean, could this be the moment where Tyler Vickery might start losing a little bit of pace and Mark Vickers finds it? That's the question. Mark Vickers just needs to, yeah, he really needs to find some really good pace for this back half of this race. We got just about 7 laps left of racing to go. And it's still the Tyler Vickery show. Mark Vickers sits in 2nd. 3rd place right now, Ian Miller. 4th, DJ Fluck. 5th, Brian McKinney. 6th, Hunter Hughes. Super far out of this race because of that unfortunate early incident. So he's having to just do his best to just get some recovery. I do want to mention, you know, something about Tyler Vickery. Like I said, he's had a bit of a rough season, but a bounce back like this, I think, is going to give him all the wind that he needs in his sails to make a charge for a championship yet again. Now, obviously, last season he felt like he really had a shot until the last, 2 races, effectively. But his first 2 races last season really did not go that great. So it could be the same kind of story right here, where Tyler Vickery has a bit of a howler openers, but then finds some special pace in him and starts coming back. You never know. You can never count this guy out of a championship. Can never count him out of a race either, in my opinion. Especially out of a championship, you just really can't. Oh, we had a little bit of a moment right there. Hold on a second. Ian Miller? Did I notice something? Oh, blinked. Okay. I saw something on the track. Yep, look at that. Ian Miller blinked out. That was what happened. Okay, don't worry about it, guys. No worries. Ian Miller just blinked out, and it scared the heck out of me. Like I was talking about Tyler Vickery, we could see a serious championship run right now. He does sit pretty far down in the standings, but again, 5 rounds to go after tonight. With tonight, it's 6 rounds. So he's got nothing but time on his side. Goes so wide at a time. I love how much he attacks that corner. You can tell he's not lifting at all, which is the way you're supposed to do it. He flies through turn 10 on his way down into turn 1. As the radio guy and the flag bearer guy, he's definitely picking his nose up there in the booth. Deep dive from Tyler Vickery in turn 1 looks good. A little farther at the back, we do see some people into the pits. Looks like DJ Fluck and Hunter Hughes both in the pits right now. Hunter went back in. 4 drivers out on track right now. DJ Fluck looks like he's just stuck in the pits. So I don't know if we see him coming out at all. The fastest lap of the race right now still held by this guy, the leader, Mr. Tyler Vickery, at a 46.861. Now, I do also want to mention, he's still consistently losing a 10th to 5/10 every lap to Mark Vickers, who's now only 5 seconds behind him. If I recall correctly, not too long ago, I was saying 7 seconds. So that being said, is Tyler Vickery starting to notice that the gap is closing up, or is he not too worried about it? Keep in mind, we only have about 6 laps left to go. And with a 5-second gap, it means he needs to catch up about 8/10 a lap to be able to fight for a win. He, being Mark Vickers, needs to catch about 8/10 a lap on Tyler Vickery. That's a big ask. That's a very big ask. Is it doable? Absolutely. I'm looking at the times that Tyler Vickery is putting down. These are nowhere near his best times. Neither are they for Mark Vickers. So Mark Vickers and Tyler Vickery both have a lot of room to improve right now. They're both not performing at peak performance. Tyler Vickery, once again, throwing the car into turn 10. You can see Mark Vickers a little bit more controlled out of it. And Mark Vickers came around. Tyler Vickery had just set down a 47.7. Mark Vickers set down a 47.8. Lost a little bit of time, actually, at the very end. Just kidding, a 46.9. Hold on a second. You know how I mentioned 8/10? Well, that's literally exactly 8/10 right there for Mark Vickers to the good on his charge to try to catch up to Tyler Vickery. Mark Vickers is putting down the laps that he needs to, as of right now, to catch up to Tyler Vickery by the last lap. Now, Mark Vickers has to do this back to back to back to back to back. 5 times in a row. He has to set at least 8/10 a lap or more faster of a lap than Tyler Vickery. And that's a really, really, really big ask. Is it doable? Absolutely. But is it a big ask? It's massive. So we'll see how Mark Vickers handles that pressure, if he can rise to the cream of the crop, or if he's going to fall down like curdled milk at the bottom of the cream. Actually, wait, curdled milk, the curdled part floats. Fall down like iron in a milk jug. Look at that. That's a very Texas phrase, is it not? Like Texans have the weirdest colloquial phrases. See how Mark Vickers takes this corner. He's very tepid, I would say, through that corner, that downhill right-hander of turn 8. Probably could have been a little bit more aggressive into it, but he is gaining time. So right now, Mark Vickers just about 3 seconds out, actually. So let's take a look at these deltas as they come across the line. This is going to be very important to notice. Wow, huge wide send right there from Mark Vickers. How much is he going to slow down for this final corner? Slow down just right. Uses all the track. He's back up on it. Power is his. 48.0 for Tyler Vickery last lap. 47.1 for Mark Vickers. 9/10 more caught up. Tyler Vickery is starting to slow down. Mark Vickers is really starting to pick it up. This is absolutely anything but over. This is nowhere near a done deal. Tyler Vickery should be looking at those deltas and thinking to himself, what is going on with me? And where can I improve this time? Because this is just not going to cut it for a potential race win if he wants to hold this lead. I think at this pace right now, this pace differential, Mark Vickers does catch Tyler Vickery with about a lap and a half to go. Now, earlier in the race, I was mentioning about the pace differentials from different cars versus different parts of this track. Now I think it's more so about the driver, because I think this Ferrari and the BMW seem to be pretty evenly matched cars when it comes to their, projected pace and how they handle different parts of this track, which is quite surprising given how different the cars were designed. The Ferrari being a mid-engined rear-wheel drive monster, the BMW being a front-engined rear-wheel drive beast machine. So very different car design principles put into both of these cars. But ironically enough, their performance seems to be very, very similar on this racetrack, at least in particular. Mark Vickers using every inch of the track on the exit. Tyler Vickery runs a 48.1. Mark Vickers runs a 47.3. 8 more tenths caught up. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, we're in that 2-second delta mark now. With 2 seconds of delta to go. 8 tenths a lap. Again, we'll catch Tyler Vickery up in 3 laps, and we've got basically 4 laps to go. Oh, my Lanta. Potentially 3, depending on when the leader crosses the line. We're either going to have 25 or 26 laps, depending on when the leader gets to the line. So, if I was Mark Vickers, I'd be wanting, 6 laps. I want as much laps left. I want to finish on lap 26, excuse me. I want to have the most amount of time possible. If I was Tyler Vickery, I would say, get this thing over with. Let's be done. Let me just win right now so I don't have to worry about it anymore. But so far, his dreams are not coming true. Hunter Hughes, though, I did notice that he did jump in and then steal the fastest lap. The most recent lap he just did was the fastest lap of the race. So nice job for Hunter Hughes for holding that down right now. About half a second, just under half a second better than the best lap of Tyler Vickery. So great lap right there from Hunter Hughes, the last one he just did. Up in that uphill left-hander, turn 9. Like I said, very sketchy corner. But so far, all these drivers have done a really good job at handling it and not having big mistakes there. Let's take a look at these deltas. This did not look like nearly as good of a lap for Mark Vickers as compared to Tyler Vickery. It looked like Tyler Vickery held his own a lot better this lap round. So we'll see what the times say. Tyler Vickery, 48.185. Mark Vickers at 47.8. Once again, it's just a small gap this time around. Like I said, I knew the gap just did not quite seem as grandiose. It was only 3 tenths, 3.5, almost 4 tenths of a gap, which is just not going to be enough for Mark Vickers to catch up. Remember, he needs about that 8-tenth mark, so now he's got to hit a second faster than Tyler Vickery these last few laps. And judging by the way that he's handling that bus stop right there, it looks like he's driving very conservatively. Mark Vickers just saying, I'd rather get a finish than a win, which I understand that for sure. I think that's a pretty smart choice right now with where he's at. He's going to get around the outside of
I'm hanging left. I'm hanging
DJ
left.
quite easily. Tank slapper right there. No worries for him though. He holds it just fine. And still stuck in. You can see that Mark Vickers is closing the gap ever so slightly. Let's give some love though to somebody else. We gotta go say hi to Mr. Ian Miller. He was once leading the race for so long, now sits down in third because of a mistake on the pit stop. He's got 7.5 seconds away from Tyler Vickery, and that's about how long that fuel stop the tires take. In fact, it takes a little bit longer than that. So right now, had Ian Miller not done the tire change, I think he would be leading the race right now. I really do. I think he might be on for the win, but unfortunately, it's just not there. Mark Vickers, though, seems like he's caught up a lot of time. Hold on a second. Mark Vickers does not look far. Tyler Vickery makes a huge mistake into turn 1, goes so deep, totally misses his braking point. And now we really have a battle on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Just 2 laps to decide this one. And it's anyone's game. As we're going to go tit for tat in the final 2 laps. Mark Vickers versus Tyler Vickery. Now, I would show you guys the replay as to what exactly happened right there from Tyler Vickery, as we just barely caught the very end of it, of him recovering from his big off track, but unfortunately, this battle is about to get a little bit too spicy, so we cannot leave. Tyler Vickery now trying to hold off the aggressive, charging, prancing horses. Tyler Vickery looking nervous. Remember how I said drivers, when they start driving nervous, they start turning in early. Watch the way that Tyler Vickery handles his car. If he's turning in early, he is nervous. And I don't blame him. Mark Vickers is on him right here.
Try to Mark.
Oh my gosh. Right behind. Mark Vickers can see blood in the water. Slow down right there from Tyler Vickery, going a little bit slow coming out of a turn 8. And it's an early turn in again from Tyler Vickery. Bit of a tail slapper right there from Mark Vickers. He's putting the full pressure on, using all the grip that Mercedes can give him. And he gets a way better exit at turn 10. Is it going to be a super send? Tyler Vickery gives him the room on the inside. Hold on a second. Tyler Vickery shoved that to the wall, almost holds it off the wall, but we're side by side down the start-finish straight, and it's the Ferrari nosing ahead as of right now. Tyler Vickery will have the outside line. Is he going to be able to have enough pace to defend it? No, it's not. Mark Vickers says, this is mine. And he's through very clean before the corner even started. Tyler Vickery, just absolutely gutted, was leading the race, was potentially going to win this race, and now he watched it all slip through his fingers. 2 laps to go here, actually. Now I think it's been called. I did not see a white flag come out, so we are still at the final bits of this race. It's still not done yet. Tyler Vickery could get a comeback. You never know. Tyler Vickery, though, definitely turning in early. You can see the way that he turned into that corner. It was mega early. There was no way that he was going to get the max out of that corner. Taking a wide line, really wide line to that corner. Tyler Vickery making a big mistake. He's going to lose even more time now to the Ferrari. He just needs to stick in and just calm down and say, you know what, I've lost the position, I've lost the win. But a second is better than nothing. But for Mark Vickers, it's wins and only wins is what is acceptable to him. He has had such a dominant start to this season, and it looks like that dominance is going to continue. Mark Vickers just has a couple corners to go until he starts our final lap here. Holy smoke-a-roly. What a job for Mark Vickers it's been. We're going to go into his gyro camera. Yes, I do call it a gyro camera. Don't judge me, everybody. Bit conservative. He takes that that turn 10 right there. Set himself up nice for turn 11. And he should see the flag bearer on the top left-hand corner of his screen. Give him a flag. It's a win! I was wrong. Mark Vickers has done it, I think. Mark Vickers has done it! Congratulations to Mark Vickers. Unfortunately, my flags were not quite working. But wow, what a race from the Ferrari. Oh my gosh. Tyler Vickery has already quit out of the session. He is upset, understandably so. Mark Vickers flashing his lights, super stoked about that. That's another win for this season. It was a hard-fought one. Coming back from a third-place qualifying, definitely not the hottest. He was a second and a half off of that pole position lap from Hunter Hughes. But after that early contact between himself and Hunter Hughes, it was all Mark Vickers. His pace just seemed to be better. And though Tyler Vickery had the lead on track, the pace just was not there. You could see the last few laps, Tyler Vickery just kept dropping off. And Mark Vickers
I'll be in Discord in a second. I gotta open
was
it
the
up.
strongest
Try to
of
do some donuts first.
all of them. Let's go ahead and get Ian Miller, Tyler Vickery, and Mark Vickers into this chat. Let's see if we can find Ian. I'm not sure if they're watching right now, but if he is, Ian Miller, jump in here. Is that Ian?
Yep.
Yeah, fuck
You
it.
hear
I
me?
heard a join. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right.
Good. Hey, congratulations on your podium. Definitely one that I think you probably thought you deserved the win on. Talk to me about that race and kind of how you felt that went.
I mean, I think my qualifying pace was, pretty close to the top. But yeah, if my race pace wasn't there, then it wasn't there. I feel like that was a pretty clean race, pretty good race all in all. I'm really happy with how that went, honestly. And yeah, congrats to the other guys.
Yeah, it was a very good race. I must agree. I think that actually what the main thing was, I think you actually had the race pace. Did you know that neither of the two drivers behind you pit for tires? They only pit for fuel.
Oh, the two guys in front of me?
Yep.
Oh, is that how they pulled such a gap? Yeah, no,
That's it. That was all it
in
was.
running in practice, I saw that my front tires were getting down to 40% in the opening stint, so I just knew I had more pace if I just swapped them out.
And why do you feel like your front tires were dropping so much? That's quite a lot of wear.
Yeah, I think it's just probably part of my driving style. I tend to throw the car in to the corners quite a bit, especially with the Mercedes, with it being so tail happy. Yeah, I tend to just drive it in a way that induces more understeer to try and keep the car balanced, but seems to keep my pace up, but certainly put some wear on the front tires.
Interesting. That's a very good observation. I know with the fixed setup, there's no real way to, kind of set up your way out of that problem. So it makes sense why the driving style is the fix to that. It definitely is a bit of a tail happy car, I must agree.
Oh yeah.
But hey, overall, I think it was a great drive. Getting that P3 is definitely phenomenal. It's gonna help you out for the championship standings. And there was a moment where there were two cars behind you. It was Hunter Hughes and Mark Vickers had a little collision. Did you notice that in your rear view or not at all?
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't feel any contact, but I just saw. I think it was Hughes spin behind me, and I felt bad in case because I ran deep into that corner. I didn't know if I'd thrown him off pace or something, but yeah.
No, I think what happened was Hunter just unfortunately got a little bit too forward under the brakes, and as you know, in that corner, if you go too hard on the brakes and you start turning, you got no grip on your rear tires, and it's just gonna turn you. So I think that's exactly what happened right there, unfortunately, and that was all she wrote for him. So otherwise, though, I think you did a great job. Your race pace was definitely there. You were setting consistently top level times at the very end of the race. In fact, you were catching the top two guys at the very end, and they were just running their race unencumbered from each other. So you had the race pace there. I think next week it might be your week. Who knows? Laguna Seca might be your place.
Oh yeah, Laguna Seca is not my track, but play the big actor.
It'll still be fun. Well, hey man, thanks for jumping in here, and I'll catch you later. Okay.
Yeah, catch you there. Bye.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and interview our second place person. It's Mr. Tyler Vickery. How are you doing tonight?
I don't know. Should I be more annoyed with the finish? Because I'm so used to running GT3s and not taking tires, and what's kind of throwing me off right now is I guess Hunter told me that second and third took tires, so unless there was some change that I didn't know about,
only third did. Yeah.
I don't know how.
I didn't.
That's off
see
teamwork on saving tires because I
didn't see Mark take tires, and I definitely watched his pit stop. So I'll definitely have to ask him about that once we get to him. But yeah, it seemed like everybody else was not taking tires. So it was Ian Miller who took tires, and that's why he ended up so far back, is what it felt like. But the way that he was driving, he told me it was a lot of his driving style, which was kind of messing up his front. So that's why he ended up having to take him. So. For you, I think you had the pace at the very end. It just happened to start falling off the last 5 laps, and something happened to Mark Vickers. He turned on the light switch and started getting 0.8 to a second a lap back to back.
I mean, literally I got to a point where it was telling me my tires were so worn out that I needed to pit for more tires, and I'm thinking to myself, that's never happened before.
Wow, your crew chief
something
was saying
seems off.
Tires?
Yeah, and that never happened. So that's what's kind of throwing me off, because
Dang.
I like the BMW for this track mainly because of the straight line speed, and I usually will attack the bus stop like I did at the start. It just kind of throws. I don't know what has changed in the last few. I mean, I know we had that little hot fix, but whatever they did, I don't know. But it's kind of really frustrating me right now because I'm trying to figure out how, when I was running, especially looking at the relative, seeing how consistent I was running, even after the pit stop, which I almost got a speeding penalty for because I like to attack the pits and I almost forgot where the pit entry line was. So, but that was
definitely something to investigate in your telemetry at the end of the race. But overall, man, I think you ran a great race. It's a phenomenal podium finish for you, and that's a really good way to start catching back up in the season. So great job, and you never know. Championship fight's still definitely there, quite potentially.
Yeah, I might end up at this point going back to one of my more favorite cars, which was the McLaren, and that's the one I've been mainly doing open setups with and working on setups. So I might have to stick with that for the last few weeks, see if maybe that might be the difference. But
Who knows?
who knows?
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for jumping in here, and I'll chat you later, okay?
Yep.
Alrighty, Mr. Mark Vickers, are you in here?
I'm here, buddy.
Oh, what's going on? How you doing?
Man, I don't know how I pulled that off. I gotta watch my
know.
mouth, man. I was cursing so much over here.
That was incredible. That recovery drive was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, qualifying in third, almost a second and a half off the pace. Oh, actually closer to 2 seconds in a second and a half. Off of the qualifying pace of Hunter Hughes. The first stint of the race, you were very much so stuck in third, just kind of fighting off the fourth place, driver of Tyler Vickery for the first little bit. Then there was that collision between you and Hunter, where I watched the replay. There was nothing you could do; it just spun right in front of you. And so then,
Yeah, there was nowhere to go.
Yeah, you were lucky that you barely caught any damage out of that one as well. And then after that, it just seemed like a light bulb turned on, and you just started flying. Now, I mentioned that you didn't take tires. Is that correct?
I did not. Yeah, I'm sitting at a 40 left, 42 right
That sounds
front.
about right. Yeah, 45 minutes on this track, using up 60% of your tire wear is about normal. So that makes total sense. Now, I'm curious as to why you think the other drivers were struggling so much with their tires.
Honestly, I have no idea. I got maybe about 20 minutes of practice on this track, so most of it was just trying to go back to I do like the 3-hour race with one of my buddies. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, I noticed during the, before I pit, I was just going too hard into the entries. I was trying to go slow in, fast out, but I'm trying to keep up with people that are way faster than me. There's no way I should have finished first in this race.
Well, I think that's exactly what you switched. I actually had a little point to point out, during the broadcast. I was watching a few of the drivers do this, where when you're really on the attack, you start turning in early. Subconsciously, everybody does it. It's pretty normal. And it's a really good way for, if you're a trailing driver, if you're somebody in front and you're paying attention to who's behind you, or if you have a good crew chief, it's a really good way for you to know what your competitors are thinking in their head. And I could see in the first, your first stint, you definitely were turning in a little bit early. And I was like, oh, he's pushing. He's trying, he's really clawing his way up. But then that second stint, you just kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to run it. I'm going to let my race come to me. And you stopped doing it. And right when you stopped doing that, you started hitting the pace like nobody's business. So I think that's probably what happened.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find my tempo. But like I said, I mean, no practice and then just hopping in. I mean, I was really surprised to see 146 because my best lap in practice was like 147.1.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so I was not very quick. That's why I'm very surprised to...
Wow. Well, that's a great way to recover.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Absolutely. Well, this puts you quite firmly in the lead of the championship right now. Going into round 4, we're going to Laguna Seca. This is a
all-time favorite track.
It's your all-time favorite. It's my second favorite track. This Watkins Glen's my third favorite track in the entire world. Ironically, my first favorite track is European, so we're not going to be racing it. But Watkins Glen is notoriously a track that kills cars, for lack of a better term. And so I'm going to ask you, most importantly, what are you going to do to keep yourself out of the barrier?
I just pay attention, really.
That's fair.
That's it. I mean, just try to race my race instead of doing what I did at the beginning of the race, is trying to keep up with Hunter and Miller. We were having some good battles, though. That was awesome.
That was
Miller.
great.
Miller's a good driver. I like him.
Very good. Yeah, his racecraft was exceptional. It was really fun to see, and the way that he defends was so perfect. It was never like egregiously aggressive, but it was properly aggressive, and I was loving it. I was absolutely loving it.
Yep.
I could definitely see it was making you a little frustrated, but in the right way. It was just impossible to get around him. It was great.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I mean, like I said, I had no right being up there in the top 3. So.
Well, hey, you were there because you kicked butt. So nice job, man. Well done.
All right,
I'll
appreciate it.
Go ahead and let you go, and I will see you next week for the Laguna Seca.
All right, man. Have a good one. Be safe.
See you later. Well, alrighty, everybody, that's going to be the end of our broadcast here tonight. Thank you again so much for watching. This has been a blast. This was a super fun race to commentate on, and yes, as they mentioned, that battle early on in the race was quite tasty. Now, again, next week, we're off to Laguna Seca, May 17th, an amazingly fun track, and then we're back-to-back to Virginia International Raceway after that, and the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course right after that. Then we have another little break week into our final 2 weeks of the season, Rudskogen and Daytona. A fun fact about Daytona, we're running it with time acceleration, so we will be getting both day and night time experience in that race. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you tune into all these races we have going on. And thank you again so much to Stadium Scene TV for supporting us here at Wednesday Night Dash. It's going to be a blast for the rest of the season. Again, my name is Eli. I cannot wait to see you guys again soon. I'll see y'all later.